This week, I take a journey from pole to pole, over 11,000 miles of thrills.
I've left my phone on the plane.
Spills.
Get on a bus halfway to the terminal and the bus has crashed.
And extreme chills.
It shouldn't be this cold.
As I take a journey from the world's southernmost to northernmost airport.
Well, hello and good morning from the end of the world. As that sign says there, Fin del Mundo. We are literally at the end of the world right now. I'm at Puerto Williams, the southernmost town in the entire world. There is no permanently inhabited settlement any further south than here. The next stop from here is a place that some people say exists. Some people say there's an ice wall. I don't know, I've never been, but the next place south from here is Antarctica, which probably explains why it's snowing and it's flipping freezing. But anyway, being in the southernmost town in the world, that also means it's home to the southernmost airport in the world. And where can we go from the southernmost airport in the world but north? I've got several planes to catch to get there. It's going to be a long old journey. So let's go inside, warm up and get across to the airport to get the first of today's flights. And he's in a hurry.
My epic journey would take me almost 12,000 miles on 6 flights from the Antarctic to the Arctic over the course of 3 days. My first job though was to get to the world's southernmost airport.
Hi then, welcome to Puerto Williams Airport, the southernmost airport that has scheduled flights in the entire world. It's a very long way from here to the airport I'm heading to, which is the northernmost airport in the entire world, but our first flight today leaves in about half an hour, so we need to get inside and get checked in and get on our way for our massive adventure. Alright then, all checked in for flight number 1 on this adventure. There isn't any boarding passes given here at this little airport because there's only like a handful of passengers on each flight out of here, so we're just waiting for them to let us through. I have to say, as views from airport departure lounges go though, this isn't a bad one, is it? Look at that. Just an incredible part of the world. Hoping and hopefully that the airport that we're going to, the northernmost airport, will be just as pretty, if not prettier, than it is down here. But let's figure it out when we get there, as we wait for our plane to arrive and take us on step 1 of today to Punta Arenas in Chile.
I didn't have too long to wait though, because pretty soon my first flight of this adventure was landing. This DAP Airlines King Air 100.
It looks like we're on a King Air today, which is pretty cool. I wasn't sure what we were going to get. There's no flight radar coverage down here.
It wasn't too long before it was time to get on board.
Hola, gracias. Acento.
Sí. Ah, sí,
Yeah.
pero adelante.
Okay, gracias. Hola, buenos días. Hola.
Alright then, airborne on leg 1 of this crazy adventure, the super noisy Beach King Air 100. It's the first time I've been on a 100 model of these, so there's a new one for me. This one apparently doesn't have a very good history though, because about a year ago on this exact flight, the door fell off when it was climbing through 10,000 feet. So hopefully the door remains intact today. But we have probably about another hour to go until we arrive up in Punta Arenas on our first leg of this mammoth adventure.
Alright then, flight 1 completed, Punta Arenas, Chile. First stop.
I'd originally booked quite a long connection here just in case there were any problems with the first flight, but as it turned out we were on time and I was left with an 11-hour connection, so I went to the desk to see if I could get booked on an earlier flight.
So I fly tonight. I didn't know if I could possibly change to an earlier flight. My flight is at midnight. What is the late one?
Yes, we have a flight now at 4:42.
Okay.
Back first stop in Puerto Montt, then continues to Santiago.
Okay.
Then we have another flight at 5:10, it's directly to Santiago.
Whichever works. Yes, if I could get on one of those, that'd be amazing. Is there an extra cost?
Yes, 35 Chilean pesos pesos. 1,000 Chilean pesos.
That's fine. Yeah.
The first flight, departure free here from Punta Arenas, Santiago. Sorry, Punta Arenas, Puerto Montt, Santiago. Will arrive at 9:30 Santiago. But the other one, the departure here at 5:10, will arrive 1 hour.
Oh, okay. So maybe we get that'll be that.
Directly.
Yes, direct is easier.
Like a 1 hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, let's do that then, if that's okay. Thank you.
Okay, you keep the cabin, the premium cabin.
Perfect. Thank you.
Number
So
1.
boarding at 4:25. Amazing.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your help. Well, there we go. That worked out really well. They've got 5 flights a day up to Santiago, so she's managed to get me on the 4 o'clock flight up there, which is pretty decent. So I've only got a few hours, and then we can get north to Santiago.
And once I was through security, it was no time at all before it was time to get on my plane for the next flight up to Santiago de Chile.
Hola.
Hola, excuse me.
Thank you. Gracias.
All right, then time to go on board flight number 2. Let's do this.
Hola.
Right then, so a 3-hour flight now up to Santiago de Chile, the capital city of Chile, on this LATAM Airbus A320. It's an old A320-200. It would seem it's not a Neo, but that's okay. It's pretty nice, pretty comfy. Got quite a little bit of leg room here. I can put my legs out there. And yeah, interesting. This is the flight that's come in from the Falkland Islands. They have a connecting flight through here once a week on a Saturday through Punta Arena, so many of the passengers are Falklanders going home or travelling around, connecting through Santiago, which is pretty interesting. So a lot of them have been here, they've cleared customs and got back on the plane as we head north, and here's me heading much further north. Let's do this. Now, flying on LATAM is a little bit basic. Even in their premium cabin, the only service you get is a sandwich. But let me tell you, the views out of the window on this flight more than made up for the lack of service. Goodness me, how beautiful is the scenery on this flight. It just carries on going. It's stunning, and it just doesn't stop. Like, since the moment we took off, we've had these beautiful vistas, and they've sort of stayed with us for the entire flight. It's just mind-blowing, breathtaking, unbelievable. Eventually though, like all good things, this flight had to come to an end, and as the sun started setting, we made our approach into Santiago Airport. We touched down on time, but it seemed that my fun and games were only just beginning. Alright, this is going great. Halfway through the terminal, I realise I think I've left my phone on the plane. Let me go back, see if I can get it. Oh, God. As I got back to the gate, the passengers were still disembarking the flight, and there was no gate agent there to ask about it, so I decided to head down the gate and back onto the plane to see if I could get my phone back. Now, in many parts of the world, going back down the jet bridge to get on a flight that you've just got off of is pretty much impossible, but thankfully here in Chile they didn't have a problem with it, and my phone was still waiting on my seat.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I got halfway to the baggage claim. I thought, shit, I left my phone on the plane. Thank you. Muchas gracias, senor. Thank you. Have a lovely evening. Thank you. Gracias, thank you.
Like you.
Yeah, that could have ended badly. I got to reclaim, and I was nearly at the reclaim, and I thought, my phone. But of course it wouldn't connect, so.
And sometimes this flight go to Malvinas Island.
Okay, so Falklands, yeah. Malvinas,
Falklands,
yeah. Sorry, English.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, you
are right.
Fine.
I'm so sorry.
No, I'm joking. You guys, are you Chilean, yeah?
Yeah, I'm Chilean.
You're good guys, yeah.
Malvinas are ours. If you go to Argentina, you see a lot of this.
I know, I have been, yeah. It's funny.
Holy crap, I got it. That was lucky. That was really lucky. I honestly thought I'd lost it. I thought, where's my phone? And I couldn't find it anywhere. And sort of went back down the jet bridge. I know you're not supposed to do that, but nobody stopped me. And as I walked down the jet bridge, I felt my phone, my wrist buzzed as if it connected to it. So I did a diddling ding ding, and it's the flight attendant noticed it on my seat and went and got it for me. So wow, thank you, LATAM. That could have ended really badly, but
it didn't, and we're good. I think I need to go and get some rest now.
So after the most stressful part of the trip so far, I headed out of the airport and across to the Holiday Inn hotel here at Santiago Airport, where I'd managed to get a room for a few hours before my next flight.
All right then, Santiago de Chile. Wasn't expecting to be here tonight, but I'll take that nice looking bed over a bench in an airport, followed by a 3-hour red-eye flight anytime. I've got about 8 hours here until my next flight leaves here from Santiago to take us onwards as we continue further north. So I'm going to try and get a little bit of sleep tonight, and then in the morning we'll head back across to the terminal building, which is right about just over there somewhere, to get on our next flight out of Chile. Well, good morning. All set after my stay here at the Hotel Motel Holiday Inn. Whoop. That's where I've stayed at Santiago Airport. Right, it's early in the morning. I haven't had any coffee yet, let alone enough coffee, so let's get across to the terminal and check in for, dragging me back, my next flight of this crazy adventure. We've got a flight across South America now to get to our one after that. So it all links together. We'll get there in the end, I promise. Right, let's get in and get checked in.
Check-in at Santiago Airport's all done on a touch screen, and you put the bag through the belt yourself, so in no time at all I was heading to security, where I was met with this horrendous line. Now, I'd originally planned to spend an extra hour in bed this morning and get out of bed a bit later, but I'm really glad I didn't, because this line took well over an hour to get through. After passport control, it was time to go through security, and that was a little bit quicker, and then I was through to airside finally.
All right, finally made it through that queue. Wow, that was an entire hour it took me to get through passport control and security there. Absolutely unreal. And it's not many people at the airport either. It's crazy. But anyway, I'm glad I left myself enough time this morning to do that, because I would have been struggling. I was thinking about coming over an hour later, and if I'd have done that, well, I would have probably ended up missing my flight. So that's quite good. Leave yourself plenty of time here in Santiago. Anyway, let's go and spend 10 minutes or so in the lounge, grab a coffee, and then we'll get down to the gate.
I headed up to the LATAM lounge, and to my surprise they sent me straight into the Signature lounge, which is their premium lounge here in Santiago.
Ah, so this lounge here, okay.
Yes, it's different.
Oh, perfect.
So this is a premium economy class, but your status with a Delta is here.
Oh, amazing, even better. Thank you. I haven't got long though, so...
This is the Wi-Fi password.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Muchas gracias. Thank you. Alright, so they invited me in to the LATAM Signature Lounge here, which is interesting. They did it based on me having Delta's Platinum status, which I didn't think I had anymore. I thought I'd drop down to just a lowly Silver with them now, but I don't know whether it might be because I've got the Delta Reserve credit card, maybe that gets you in here. But anyway, this is the fancier of the two lounges here in Santiago, and it's pretty nice. And at this time of the morning, there's not many people in here. There's like me and about 3 other people. There's more staff than customers, which is nice. It's just a shame I haven't got long to enjoy it. All right, then, just about enough time to drink a cup of coffee in there. Now it's time to get down to the gate. Let's go.
My next leg there would take me across the Andes into Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Buenos días.
Es un preembarque. Debe esperar hasta la vía de evacuación.
Muchas gracias. Thank you. Hola. ¿Es por aquí? Sí, por favor. Gracias. Buenas.
Bienvenido, adelante. Hola.
Alright then, volo numero 3, flight number 3, as we leave Santiago, heading across to our next stop, Buenos Aires, in Argentina. We're gradually getting closer to our destination. About a 2-hour run, this one. The sun's just starting to come up. Well, it's actually still dark out, actually. I thought it was starting to get light, but it isn't. So hopefully on this flight we can see a nice sunrise, and then settle into our flight to Argentina, baby.
As the sun started rising, we pushed back from the gate and got on our way for the next leg across to Argentina.
Yeah, that was one really bumpy take-off and climb out from Santiago, but thankfully, fingers crossed, it's smoothed out a bit now. They've just come around with the breakfast service. There's like a little sandwich, little fruity pot thing there, and a coffee, of course, and a cereal bar. The cabin crew actually are really nice on this flight, I have to say. Not doing enough to help me, which is pretty nice, really. There's not many passengers on. It's a Sunday morning and we're sort of cruising across, so it's a pretty empty flight, but it's quite nice, quite enjoyable. After a couple of hours, we started our descent into Buenos Aires International Airport. My next flight today would be in Lufthansa's first class, and I was really surprised that they'd sent somebody to meet me at the top of the jet bridge.
Hola.
Sí. Buenos días. Hello.
Bienvenido, ¿todo bien?
Nice to meet you. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Really.
Bien, chicas.
Hola.
Bien? Okay.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Thank you. So somebody will come later.
Yeah, he will pick you up and
Okay.
they will bring you the boarding pass.
Amazing.
Okay?
Thank you
and
very
we'll find
much.
you too, okay?
All right. Thank you very much.
Sure. Have a nice flight.
Thank
okay?
you. Yeah,
Nice
have a good day.
meeting you,
Nice to meet you
nice
too.
talking to you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Seats for first class.
Oh,
You
wow,
can sit
okay.
whatever you want in the lounge.
Okay.
And we also have a welcome drink and a welcome snacks.
Okay.
If you would like.
Perfect. Yeah, I might. I mean, I'll take a drink later, a little bit earlier. But
Okay, yes, of
I have a
course.
few hours here. So.
Don't worry. Just ask us.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much. Thank you. Gracias.
No, you're welcome.
All right, welcome to Buenos Aires, Argentina. Next stop on this grand tour, yeah, it's I'm in first class. I've booked first class for the next flight. They offered me an upgrade for not a bad price, and really, I figured I'm trying really hard to get my status upgraded with United. I thought I was going to hit platinum this year if I pushed it, and actually, as it was, I actually sailed past platinum a few weeks ago. So now I'm on the road to become a 1K whacker with United, but to do that, I need to just do a little bit more flying, and that's why I thought I'd just go for the first class flight today, because it gives me a few more points, which is nice. Eventually it was time to go and board the flight, and they came up to grab all the first class passengers to take us down to the waiting Boeing 747.
Are you traveling with Lufthansa?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Are you Noel?
I am, yes.
Okay,
I don't have
here.
my boarding pass yet. Oh, that's it.
Boarding.
Lovely. There we go. Thank you.
Okay.
Amazing. Thank you. Hola. Hello, how are you? Buenos días. Gracias, thank you. Now, it doesn't matter how many times I fly, boarding a Boeing 747 will never stop feeling incredibly special to me. Hola. Hello.
Genau, 2A hier in der Fläche. Ich komme gleich mit.
Danke.
So ein Kollege an der Tür ist. Hello, welcome on board, 1K.
First class on the 747 is right in the nose, and it always feels really special. Thank you. Alright then, the longest flight on this adventure today, and I've decided to go for the best seat really that you can. This is Lufthansa's first class on their 747, baby, right up here in the nose on the ground floor of the 74 really, and we've got a 13-hour flight now, by far the longest section of this trip, as we head across to Frankfurt in Germany, that will take us ever closer to the northernmost airport in the whole world. We're getting there, we're making progress now. After a seriously long takeoff run for our 13-hour flight from Buenos Aires, we lifted off, and once again I was amazed at just how much noise the landing gear of this 747 makes. Listen to the difference it makes once it's retracted. Alright then, saying goodbye to South America and the Americas in general really, as we take the longest flight of this trip, the 12.5-hour run across to Europe now from South America, leaving Argentina behind, baby. Really looking forward to this flight, actually. Lufthansa traditionally, for me, I don't think they're the best airline in the world. I really don't. Flown on their business class, it's pretty crap compared to most other business classes, and their first class is kind of like what you would expect to find in a nice business class. But the service, the food, and everything else on Lufthansa is amazing, despite the fact that their seats are a little bit tired and dated. The service is pretty decent usually, so looking forward to this run across to Europe, at least as we continue our adventure. Alright then, so Lufthansa provide us with this amazing amenity kit for the flight, but in my experience, amenity kits on planes, as you know, they're not always the best. We'll go through that in a minute, but I've got a brand new amenity kit to show you today. This is the brand new Noel Phillips amenity kit. It's got all the best bits that I love about amenity kits that you get, and more, some really useful things in there for when you're travelling, and it comes in a really nice bag as well. Shall we have a look through it and see what we get? So aside from this lovely bag that it comes in with loads of little pouches to put everything in, you get a nice pair of Noel Phillips socks, the pineapple ones. You get this Noel Phillips eye mask. I have to say, I've been using my Noel Phillips eye mask now for a few months before we've launched this, and it is the best eye mask I've ever had. Honestly, I'm not even just trying to push it. It's a really good eye mask. That's in there as well. You get the Noel Phillips Virgin Coconut Lip Butter. Virgin Coconut. Anyway, that comes in. There's like a lip balm for making sure that your lips are nice and soft, and it's solid, so you can take it on planes as well. And the other really useful thing that you get in there as well is this. This is a baggage scale, so you can weigh your bag when you're travelling. Really cool. How cool is that? Noel Phillips branded look. You can change the units on it, you can weigh your bag, make sure you're not overweight so you don't incur any extra baggage fees. Even better, really. And that's it, really. Isn't this a cool little kit that you get? And the bag, if nothing else, the bag is flipping amazing, isn't it? How cool is that? You can get the amenity kit in the merch store at noelphillips.com. There is a bit of a sale going on at the minute as well. We're giving discounts on stuff for Black Friday if you order now. Check it out. I'll pop a link on the screen, noelphillips.com. You can buy the Noel Phillips amenity kit, and we'll have a look at the Lufthansa one, which I'm sure is nowhere near as nice, in just a minute. All right then, dinner service on the Lufthansa 747, and this is probably the nicest meal I've had on any of these flights that I'm going to be doing on this trip, and the nicest one that I'm ever going to have. It's good. We've gone for the chicken, which is just quite nice, and it looks very well presented. Very nice, and I'm going to eat that, I think, and then once I've finished that, maybe go and get my pyjamas on and try and get a little bit of sleep, because tomorrow it's another full-on day as we continue. But for now, just enjoying every minute on the first class experience with Lufthansa. It's nice, isn't it, this? I'm enjoying this. Alright then, you've seen my amenity kit. Let's have a little look through the Lufthansa first class amenity kit. It's a bit different to the last one I got. When I was very lucky to fly Lufthansa first class earlier on this year, and I got an amazing clear zippy bag for my toiletries stuff, which I use to this day. It's in my bag up there right now, but now they've gone for a new look. Looks like a handbag, doesn't it? A little bit like a... Anyway, let's see what's inside. So we have, what is this? Pair of socks and an eye mask. No, pair of socks and headphone covers, actually. Not too bad, not as nice as my socks. We've got a first class toothbrush, which is a wooden one. Earplugs, a couple of little toiletries, Augustina's Barder. If she's any relation to Douglas. We've got, what's this? Peppermint something. And a shoehorn. And that's it. Not gonna lie, for first class, the amenity kit, not the best. I have had better, which is what she said. But that being said, we don't need this one. I've got a much better one right just here. Right, bed down for me now, and I'll try and get a little bit of sleep before we arrive over into Europe. The cabin crew came round and made up my bed while I got changed into my pyjamas, and then the next morning I woke up to a beautiful sunrise over the Atlantic Ocean. Oh, well, good morning from somewhere over the Atlantic Ocean. I think we're about an hour and a half away from landing now into Frankfurt. Just woken up, the cabin's starting to come alive again. I slept for about maybe 6 hours. It wasn't a brilliant night, but it got quite bumpy in a few places, but that's okay. I can sleep when I finish this, when we head up there. That'll be nice. But breakfast has been served. I've gone for a few sort of fruity bits and cheeses and hams and stuff, so that should be quite nice. And coffee, well-needed coffee. It wasn't long before we were starting our descent into Europe, home to some of the world's strictest data protection and privacy laws, but even that's not infallible and your personal information can still be leaked like anywhere else. That's why I'm grateful to this week's sponsor, Incogni. See, they searched the web for my private data and within minutes had found 73 websites with my details on them and had it removed instantly. 73! You see, once you do literally anything online, your data's probably out there somewhere. Data brokers collect this information and charge people a hefty fee to get access to your data. Here in the US, there's a massive number of sites where people can pay to get access to your name, address, telephone numbers, social security numbers, even your car license plates and financial information can be out there for somebody to find. And believe me, as someone who puts my face online every week, I can attract some weirdos. I mean, this one's been sending me handwritten hate mail every other week for the last 2 years. I've got to admire his dedication. There's only so many times he can call me a stinky limey with bad teeth. Anyway, this is the same around the world. Your data can be collected and sold online. Now Incogni are keeping an eye on my data and I get email updates from them whenever they get my data removed from another website, which is actually surprisingly often. I had no idea just how much of my personal data was spread across the internet, gathered from all sorts of sources. Incogni takes the legwork out of it, meaning I can worry on more important things like maybe booking more flights. Right then, we've just started our descent into Frankfurt, Germany. We should be on the ground in about half an hour. Nice and early today, which means we get plenty of time there for our connection, which is pretty good. On to the next stop. We've got, how many flights now have we done after this one? I think this is 1, 2, 3. This is flight number 4. I've got 2 more to go after this one. Pretty soon it was time for the aircraft to get really noisy again, as we started our final approach into Frankfurt. We taxied into the cargo terminal here at Frankfurt, and as it would turn out, this was just the beginning of my Frankfurt fun and games.
Ladies and gentlemen, the driver who was trying to put the mobile stairs at the door did have technical problems, and that means that he had to remove the stairs from the door, and we do have now the rear exit open, and for this evacuation we would like to ask you to use the rear exit. Thank you for your understanding.
And so 364 passengers made their way to a single exit at the back of the plane, where we got off the plane and sent straight to a bus that would take us across the airport to the passenger terminal. However, the Frankfurt fun and games weren't over just yet, as even getting on the bus didn't seem like it would get us all the way to the terminal. Well, you couldn't make this up, could you? After all that, we got on a bus halfway to the terminal and the bus has crashed. Ran into a baggage car. Lufthansa. Amazing. As we waited on the bus, nobody had a clue what would happen next. But fortunately, Lufthansa's crack team of elite specialists were soon dispatched to assess the situation. So we've now got good old German efficiency going on. There's about 20 people stood out there waving arms, pointing around. Nobody seems to know what's going on. Eventually, another bus turned up and we were sent to get on board this one into the terminal, after everyone stopped to observe the damage, of course. Finally, after an hour out on the apron, we pulled into the terminal where it was time to try and get my next flight. Well, I was hoping to go to the nice first-class terminal here at Frankfurt, but with the bus crashing, it's taken us an hour and a half to get into the terminal from where we were parked at the other end, so I don't think I'm going to have enough time, really. You couldn't make this up, could you? Alright, well, it seems that going through the passport control into the Schengen area has sort of kicked me outside anyway, and I'd have to go back through security anyway, so I thought, you know what, we might as well try and aim for the first class terminal. We're not going to have a lot of time, but we can head in there, maybe grab a shower, maybe just enough time, and we're not far away from it actually anyway, so let's take a wander down there and rest now for a bit. That was a pain in the arse.
Hello. Herzlich willkommen. Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Thank you.
Yeah, English. Hello, welcome.
Sorry,
First
you can tell.
So you are going to?
I'm going to Oslo. Thank you. Hello, guten Tag, how are you? Thank you.
Would you like to have the duck?
Oh, yes, please. My daughter collects them, yeah. Okay, yes, when I get later. Thank you. Alright, just about enough time to grab a shower before I get on my next flight. There's a shower, I'm going to need that. So these are the nice bathrooms you get in the first class terminal. This is an exclusive terminal. If you've got a first class ticket, either in or out, you can come here. And it's just at the side of the main terminal building. It's really nice. It's your own dedicated terminal for first class passengers. Much more relaxed experience than the main cattle market that is Frankfurt Airport. We've got a loo down there, look. And a very nice sort of selection of lotions and things like that. It's like a hotel, isn't it? Right, I'm going to grab a shower, go and grab a drink, and then maybe it'll be time to get across to the plane. We'll see, but now we can relax a little bit. Right, feels much better now. I've got me duck. Let's give you a little rubber ducky when you come in here. This is for my daughter, so she collects them, so I'll give it to her when I get home. Yeah, no, this whole experience here is a nightmare, isn't it? But we made it here in the end. Don't get me wrong. I know loads of you are probably going to be watching this going, oh, well, look at how everybody else gets treated. This is what happens to everybody else. You don't get any special treatment because you're in first class or whatever with the whole bus situation and everything. But you know what? The people in the back of the plane also don't spend the amount of money it costs to fly in first class, and albeit for me I managed to swing an upgrade on one of those bidding things that I did before the flight, but the regular price of that ticket that I was just on cost upwards of 20 grand, and that's what the other people in first class would have paid for that ticket. Can you imagine paying 20 grand for a first class ticket and then ended up being shoved on a bus that crashes? Just crazy, isn't it? But anyway, that's my thoughts on the matter. Anyway, I've got a bit of time, half an hour now, to have a drink of water and then we'll head across to the plane and breathe.
Eventually, the concierge came to take me down to the car.
It's a bit delayed, isn't it? That's okay.
Delay to 1:55.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello. Hi.
Just one last seat check and then we're
thank you.
ready to go.
Just got this bag so I can just do that. Thank you.
When you fly through the first class terminal, you get taken to the plane in a Porsche, which is always a super cool experience. My next flight today then was up to Oslo on this Lufthansa Airbus A321. We parked up on the stand and walked up onto the jet bridge to get onto the plane.
Hello, good time.
Alright then, on board flight number 5 of this crazy adventure from south to north, and we've got 2 more flights. This one and the flight after it is the last 2 flights basically, and this flight will take me up to Oslo, the capital of Norway. We're getting closer. We've not got far to go now. That was really cool being swished from the first class terminal in that Porsche. That was really nice. And then, yeah, we've got on the plane and we're ready to go. So let's get out of here and head further north. It took us ages to taxi out to the runway here today. It was a really busy afternoon here in Frankfurt, but eventually we made it and took off for our flight north to Oslo. The flight up to Oslo was about 2 hours long and I feel like I slept for a lot of it. By this point I was really starting to feel the exhaustion kicking in. Eventually though we started our descent and broke through the clouds to get our first glimpse of the beautiful scenery of Norway. And with 5 flights out of the 6 done, I just knew that I'd only got 1 more flight to do to take me to the top of the world.
Right then, welcome to Oslo in Norway. We are nearly there. Just 1 more flight now will take me to the world's northernmost airport. Let's get across to the gate and take the last flight on this wild adventure. Nearly there now. All right then, so my 6th and final flight will take me up to the northernmost airport in the world, and that is the airport at Longyearbyen in Svalbard, which is north of Norway. Now, I thought that was in Norway. I think it is in Norway, kind of, but we're going from an international gate, which is a bit weird. We have to go through passport control to go to a domestic plane. I don't know how it works, but we're through anyway already to airside here in Oslo. So let's head across to, first of all, find a lounge because we've got a little bit of time, grab a coffee, and then carry on for flight number 6. All right, then through passport control, it turns out then that Svalbard is, although it's kind of administered by Norway, it isn't in the strictest sense of the word part of Norway. It's like an international place. And yeah, which is a bit interesting really. It sort of has exempt status from loads of things, and it's a little bit of an odd situation, but it is international. Alright then, here we are, the final flight of this massive adventure, heading now to Longyearbyen on the island of Svalbard. This is my ride. It's SAS, Scandinavian Airlines Airbus A320neo. I think I might have been on this one before over in Sweden, I think, when I went up to Luleå years ago, but yeah, that's going to take me now about a 3-hour ride, I think, up to Svalbard, Longyearbyen Airport, and looking forward to getting there and seeing what it's like.
And fairly soon it was time to get on board my last flight of the trip.
Hello, good morning. Good morning. Welcome.
Right then, on board the SAS A320neo up to Longyearbyen. About a 3-hour run. This isn't a bad seat actually. This is their sort of, it's a bit weird, they call it business premium or something like that. It's really SAS Plus, I think it's called. They call it business class. They charge for business class. It has a business class fare load, but actually it's just economy really. Albeit you do get a snack, I believe. I don't even think that they do the middle seat blocked off in SAS Plus, which is a bit of a Swiss really, but it's not too bad really. It's about a 2-3 hour flight today up there, up north. So I'm looking forward to getting up there.
And so here we were, the final flight of the trip up to Longyearbyen in Svalbard. SAS Plus gives you a snack box for your lunch, but to be honest, the only thing I was bothered about on this flight was looking out of the window. And after a couple of hours, I got my first views of Svalbard.
Oh, there it is, out the window, the island of Svalbard, deep in the Arctic Circle. Man, it's beautiful.
Now, don't get me wrong, I'd read that Svalbard was a beautiful part of the world, but nothing had quite prepared me for just quite how beautiful it really was. Endless snow-covered mountains and glaciers as far as the eye could see, and quite honestly, it's one of the most breathtaking approaches to an airport that I've ever seen. The final approach into Longyearbyen brings you in over the sea, and with the sun so low in the sky, this was the last time I'd see it for a couple of days as it dipped behind the mountains. So here we were then, the northernmost airport in the whole world. We hadn't even shut down the engines when they started to de-ice the plane ready for the next flight.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, bye.
I headed into the terminal and got my first glimpse of a polar bear, albeit a stuffed one.
Hello, welcome to Longyearbyen in Svalbard, the most northerly airport in the entire world. It's even further north than Doncaster, and we're way up here, 78 degrees north. Next stop is like the Arctic Circle. Well, we're in the Arctic Circle. Next stop is the North Pole, really, from here, with 5,500 kms, whatever they are, from New York. 3,000 from London, and there's polar bears here as well. There are penguins down at the southernmost airport, and polar bears. Isn't it just beautiful? Look at that view. Right, I'm going to head inside and grab me back because it's flipping freezing out here, and then we'll head to our hotel, then we can start to explore this amazing part of the world. All right, so the taxis are all gone, so there's a bus here that goes into town, and I asked him and he said, yeah, they stop at the hotel I'm at, so jump on the bus and we're going to head into the hotel. Oh, it's cold, I need my hat out, I think, in a minute. Longyearbyen's home to around 1,700 people, and it was named by an American guy called John Longyear, who started coal mining in the area in the early 1900s. It wasn't long until we arrived at my home for the night, the Radisson Hotel in downtown Longyearbyen. Alright then, welcome to my hotel here in Longyearbyen. This is the Radisson Blue Polar Hotel up here. It's the only chain really up here in this part of the world, and well, would you just look at this view I have out of my room here. Look at that view. Oh my goodness. This is just an incredible place, isn't it? Wow. We've got a couple of beds, we've got a couch and everything down here, we've got a bathroom in here. Very nice, actually. Oi, right, back in my room with a nice ass. Ah, it's making a mess everywhere. That is a nice ass. Anyway, right, I'll go back in my room for a bit. Let's try and warm up a little bit, then we'll go and get something to eat. You know, the coolest thing about this place is I've found so far is that you don't need any visa to come and live or work here. It's one of the only places in the world where that's the case. You or I could just up sticks and come and move here to Svalbard with no visa required. As long as you can afford to support yourself and to live, then you can come and live here. But that's kind of the issue, because things are blooming expensive up here. It's as you'd expect, being up here in the middle of nowhere. I mean, Norway's pricey at the best of times. So this is one of the schools up here in Longyearbyen. They're between this and the secondary school across the road. They are the northernmost schools in the entire world. Imagine going to school up here in Svalbard. Flipping heck. And I love the fact that they've got an outdoor play area as well. Nothing but optimists, aren't they? They're a hardy folk up here, I have to say. This is what Svalbard is all about, really. Statue here of a coal miner or something. Mining is big business here in Svalbard. In fact, that's outside of the town of Longyearbyen itself. Everywhere else is set up and owned by mining companies. I think mining companies own something like 5% of the land here, which is a big amount, really. Right, we've got to the good stuff. Co-op and a liquor store. That's all you need. That's literally all you need. This is how they cope up here in the far north. They've got a co-op and somewhere to get the booze. Let's go inside. I need to warm up, that's my excuse. Now this is more like it. Alright then, I've got my booze to warm up when I get back to my room. I'm going to start heading back. It's getting dark now, it's like mid-afternoon. It's already starting to get dark because the sun sets like stupid early. Half the year, by the way, Longyearbyen and Svalbard are completely dark. The sun doesn't rise for months across the darkest of the winter months. And then, of course, in the summer, it's an Arctic place, so in the summer, it's daylight 24/7. You've got to be careful as well, because of the polar bears here. They are a big issue. Oops, like tripping over things on the ground. Polar bears up here in Svalbard are a massive issue, to the point where they actually tell you that if you're leaving the town, you have to carry a shotgun with you, just in case you come across an angry polar bear. Hopefully, we won't come across any bears today on the way back to my hotel. If we do, I can clock them with my Chablis. As it turned out, I didn't need to defend myself against any angry polar bears. I did, however, come across something slightly scarier. This guy. Who should I bump into, of all people in all places in the world, than this guy? This, if you don't know him, this is Steve Marsh.
Thank you very much.
Who does amazing YouTube videos featuring trains and buses and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, the same kind of thing, but he does it better.
I've been doing it for longer, probably. That's probably why. I wouldn't say better, but...
But seriously, to come here and to meet you, that is just the most...
Isn't that incredible?
Incredible thing.
Like,
yeah.
Never would have, like... This hasn't been planned in the slightest. Like, literally, 2 people messaged me today saying Steve Marsh is in Longyearbyen. People have messaged you saying that I'm...
But he thought he was the most northern YouTuber in the world.
Hang on a minute. Now I am.
But yeah, these things happen, and it's just fantastic.
It's amazing, isn't it? The view. But we're on the same flight tomorrow home as well, which is even funnier.
Yeah. So I'll be ignoring him, because he'll be sitting up the front, I'll be down the back. Of course,
you'll be right down 32F or something like that. But yes, but anyway, yes, Steve Marsh on YouTube, check him out. I'll pop a link up here somewhere on the screen. Go and subscribe to Steve if you like watching buses and trains and planes and everything.
And ferries and all that kind of
everything.
Stuff,
yeah. Amazing. We're getting in people's way now.
Yeah.
Now, believe it or not, and in probably something that might surprise you, I actually know a few words of Norwegian. The story being that many years ago, Norway was somewhere we visited quite a lot. It's an amazing country. It holds such a special place in mine and Rachel's hearts because there's so many things that happened in. Yeah, in many ways we wouldn't be where we are without Norway. So I did learn a bit of Norwegian back in the day. The one thing I don't remember is what on earth is a foreskin park. I'm not sure I want to go in and find out what a foreskin park is, to be honest. It doesn't sound like somewhere that's particularly enjoyable to spend a few hours. But if you come to Svalbard, you could come and live here and you could visit the foreskin park. You might enjoy that. All right, then, we made it. The world's most northerly town on the planet. Longyearbyen, Svalbard. It's been a heck of a journey from the world's most southerly town all the way up here. Almost 12,000 miles later, but we've done it. And what a view to greet us here. It's been an absolute pleasure doing this trip. I've had so much fun making this little video. Hopefully you enjoyed it as well. But for now, I'm going to go inside. We're going to warm up because I've got another big long flight tomorrow. So I'm going to rest up here a little bit. And yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching. Take care, be kind to one another, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.